Here he is.
You know, we should become the Bob and Ray of weather.
I would mean become. We already are the Bob and Ray of weather.
Yeah, I guess we are. Joe Rayo,
Yeah.
Fios 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley.
And Joe Chaffee, Fios 1 News, Long Island, and Fios 1 News, New Jersey. I was fighting a senior moment there while I was saying that. It was really strange.
What, Bob and Ray?
No,
Or you
just
couldn't remember who you were.
yeah, just for that.
And I would have told you you were Wally Ballou or somebody like that.
I probably would have went along with it. A weekend that really needed to just go away. It wasn't so much. I mean, yesterday it really hardly rained where I was. I think it rained a bit more maybe where you were.
Yeah, I got about...
It just was just so gloomy.
I got about 7/100ths of an inch, and the temperature struggled just to make it to near 50 degrees in the afternoon. Actually, it was in the 40s much of the day.
Yeah, never got out of the 40s by me. I think maybe very late in the afternoon it might have punched up to 50, but
Yeah.
it just didn't matter. And then, of course, this morning there was actually some frost around in some areas in my neck of the woods, and I know up in your area probably there was.
Right. Well, we had frost advisories posted up where I live, and it turned out to be a decent day today. It was still about 6 or 8 degrees below normal. Should be around 67. Many places in the Hudson Valley were want to make it as high as 60 today.
Yeah, same for Long Island. Then the sea breeze, the wind went around to south, and the temperatures just fell off during the afternoon. They were down in the low 50s by the time we got to the late afternoon and evening. So it's just this time of year, folks. It's the spring. It's not a fun season. It really isn't.
I made the sad discovery over the weekend on Saturday that I cannot use my tractor mower on about 20 to 30% of my grass or my property, because 20 to 30% is so waterlogged that I got stuck in the wheels just kept spinning round and round.
Right.
And my wife came running out with my daughter and he said, "How did you expect to do anything?" And she pointed to a couple of puddles that were out there. So until my lawn fully dries, and based upon what I looked at earlier today, Joe, that may not be coming our way until maybe mid or late May.
Well, look, right now at least from this week, you know, these you've got this stalled out frontal boundary, pretty much, that lies right from Maryland and Virginia straight westward down out into the southern plains. So you're going to have these waves rippling along it.
Right.
At least the waves themselves. There's no one wave that right now looks particularly ominous in terms of rainfall. You know, maybe we'll wind up with an inch to an inch and a half of rainfall spread out over the whole week.
Right.
It's just going to be it's going to be a nuisance. You're going to have rain overnight tonight, some showers going by, nothing to write home about. Then we might actually be dry for much of the time tomorrow into maybe late Wednesday.
But the problem,
and then the next one comes, and then the one after that.
The problem with tomorrow, from my vantage point, is that it's going to be cloudy for a good part of the morning. I'm hoping that the sun will put in a couple of cameo appearances during the afternoon. I mean, you'd like to see the sun out and help to dry things off.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen. I mean, in the morning there may still be some mist and spotty fog around and everything else. And as you pointed out, it'll be dry probably for much of Wednesday, but Wednesday looks like a mostly cloudy, cool kind of day.
Onshore winds.
Again, temperatures are only near 60.
Right.
And then we have to go through Thursday and Friday, which look to be showery, and maybe on Thursday, thundery as well.
Yeah, Thursday's a tricky day, because Thursday you could wind up getting the warm sector up to about New York City, in which case spots in Jersey could get up close to 80. And, even tomorrow, if it winds up going the other way, Joe, and we break out into some sun fast enough in New Jersey, somebody could make it to mid to upper 70s. It wouldn't be a huge shock in my book.
Right.
But here's that. You can see the frontals, the frontal zone that's set up, this snaking warm front in up the Appalachians, and then you've got a series of lows that go all the way back down into the southern plains, and this isn't going anywhere this week.
Right.
This the way everything is positioned in the atmosphere.
Right.
The winter weather lovers are, they're all crying because we finally got the blocking pattern they never got during the wintertime. But it really is uncanny how that works out. The spring is notorious for blocking. It just is.
Right.
You don't see blocking that often in the wintertime because the jet stream is usually so much stronger.
Yeah.
It does happen, but it's really in the spring that you see blocking. And if you look here on this upper air, up in the upper center, that area of brown, red, and purple, that's a big blocking high over Greenland. And at the same time, you've got the jet in Canada pretty active, while this upper ridge is trying to build in the east. So you set up this war zone in the middle, and we're sitting in it, unfortunately.
Right. And we're going to be near that frontal line, that frontal boundary, for many, many, many days. And the funny thing is, I saw the hand-drawn from the Weather Prediction Center. I saw the hand-drawn prog yesterday for Sunday, Cinco de Mayo, by the way.
Right.
And they had a big high pressure, not a big, but a significant high pressure system over the Northeast. And I'm saying to myself, well, it doesn't look like it's going to be so bad on Sunday. And now this morning, it was a different person doing the hand-drawn prog, putting one of these waves of low pressure.
Well, the big difference in the models is the fact that this block that's up in Greenland, which was forecast to start breaking down toward the end of the week, now looks like it wants to hang on. And this is another problem in the spring. When you get these blocking highs that develop, they don't want to go away very quickly. Right. This is the opposite in the wintertime, where we have models building blocking highs that never happen.
Right.
Now it's in the other direction, where the blocks develop, models try to tear them apart, and they don't. And as long as that's up there, it's going to keep this battle zone. I mean, if you watch the GFS from late today, first wave tonight into tomorrow morning, but you got that big high in James Bay just kind of pressing down. Next low to the lakes. Here's another pinched off warm front to our south for Wednesday into Wednesday night. We get some showers. Here's where there's a window, I think. If we wind up seeing some improvement going into later Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon before the next wave comes in, there's no real cold air. There's no onshore flow. The high is pulled up to the north in Canada. This is where it could be the one warm day where we get into the 70s if it breaks right. But it doesn't matter because it's back to the same thing going into Friday. And yeah, here's another wave for Saturday into Sunday. You may have to wait until at least late Saturday night, early Sunday morning for weather conditions to improve the way it looks.
Yeah. It's... what can I tell you, folks? It looks like we're in this pattern of wetness for a while, and as I alluded to at the very beginning, Joe, my lawn may not dry out completely until sometime about the middle part of May. So,
well, it's all about Joe's lawn, right?
I just want to get it dry.
It's a lot better than my lawn.
Looking good or whatever.
Well, look, if we look at the long range, for what it's worth, I mean, I don't know. The headache, just jumping here almost a week from now. Again, this blocking high that's up in Greenland there, it's still there. And you still have this flow from Canada sweeping, the jet sweeping across. You try to get a bigger ridge in the east. Here we are, this is around the 7th or 8th. I mean, you still have, at least I think, Joe, once you get past, say, the 9th or 10th, you're still dealing with weather systems, but at least they're moving. There's no stalled frontal boundary here.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And of course, May 12th is Mother's Day, so we can't let Mother go, with her umbrella.
No, we can't. Heaven forbid. But I don't know. It's very much a spring that is very typical for the Northeast. Where do you think, this is just mind-boggling to me. Every year, in one form or another, every year it's like this with onshore flow. Where did the idea that spring was this sort of magical, beautiful season of, sunshine every day and flowers being strewn in all directions? Where did that come from? It's never been that way.
I don't know. It's been like the equivalent when we're changing seasons. It's kind of like putting on a brand new pair of shoes. And of course, when you try shoes on at the shoe store, what happens? They never really fit very well. They're kind of tight. You need a shoehorn. It takes time to break the shoe in. And it's going to take time to break into the new season. And no sooner do we break into it, Joe, but it's already June and July, and now it's time for the hot weather to come surging in. So it is. It's more often than not, winter just does not want to leave in
Right.
many springs, and
And then the switch will get flipped somewhere along the way. As Lisa Marie Nieves points out, are we going to go right into summer? Well, look, usually around Memorial Day, there's a sense of of a switch being flipped somewhere. No guarantees.
but I've known many Memorial
They've been
Days
miserable.
that have been miserable too. Yeah, been like dull, dank, and dreary, and you say to yourself, "It's Memorial Day."
Well, I know
What
you
the
get
heck's
onshore.
going on?
You get an onshore flow.
It
It's
can
it's
persist all the way
destructive.
through the end of May.
William Uber, you want 48 hours. I know we talked about this on my YouTube show tonight. I can give you 36. Tomorrow from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. Wednesday, maybe a little bit past that. I'll give you 40 hours till midnight Wednesday night before you get into the next round of showers. But you might have to wait a while for... That's one thing in this pattern, Joe, that I think is really frustrating. You'd like to get at least back-to-back days where the weather's decent. And that's going to be very difficult to pull off. Even if it doesn't rain, you're going to have a day where you're either going to be dealing with a lot of clouds, depending on location. You're going to be dealing with an onshore wind and temperatures not getting out of the 50s, which is how Wednesday is going to be.
Right.
Then on some days you'll deal with showers, and some days you won't. It's it's hit or miss on a daily basis. It's hard to make outdoor plans that way when you've got that thread hanging over your head all the time.
And when we have those one singular days or day when it's bright and sunny from start to finish, and everybody says, finally, and you get teased. You think that finally we're going to have a number of those days, or at least several of those days, and then
Right.
the next day you wake up, you look out the window, and boom, it's what's really depressing where I am is over a few months ago, I got hold of one of these Woodman weather sticks. Have you ever seen this? Where it's a stick that curves upward when it's beautiful weather. It's like straight when the weather's about to change, and it curves down when the weather is lousy.
Okay.
So I put it on. I have a mast in my backyard where my weather station is, and I nailed this thing to the. Every day when I wake up in the morning, I open the window and look out toward the mast, and I'm always seeing the thing pointing down like this, and I say to myself, "Yep, another day in the gloom."
Yes,
And
it is.
That's how I've seen that thing pointing down more than I have up or even straight. It's been tough. We're eventually going to get out of this, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. A couple of days of dry weather, but what do we get with it? We get clouds on Wednesday, the onshore flow. Tomorrow, we're hoping that we'll bust out into a little sun, a little poke or peak of sun.
I think there's a chance we could get more than just a poke or a peak.
I'm always the pessimist.
I think it could go partly to even mostly sunny in some places.
Okay.
I'm gonna be.
I'll buy that. I'll go with that.
I'm gonna go with that idea, especially in parts of New Jersey. Long Island, it's a little tricky, but I think it could still. I could think it could happen.
I was looking at some of the models, and for Long Island, temperatures generally in the low to mid 60s, except way out east toward the Twin Forks. They had a high temperature tomorrow for Montauk of like 52
yeah.
or whatever. So.
That's going to be tough there because the wind's off the ocean, off
Yeah.
the water, no matter what direction you go with.
Right.
And there, the clouds might linger into the early afternoon, so
Yeah.
they may not have time. They may not have time to warm up. Joe Remicchio is saying hello from Cresco, Pennsylvania. Frost here in the Poconos.
Well,
Yep, there was this morning for sure.
Great for growing grass. Thanks, Bill Huber.
That's true. Just throw the seed out there and let it go.
Oh, my wife was out there about a week ago with the fertilizer. I said, don't you think the grass is green enough already? You have to help it along.
Oh, did you? Okay, last I left with you, you had spreader issues.
Well, she got a new spreader.
Okay.
She bought a new spreader. However, we have a broken wheelbarrow. Over the fall, one of the handles, the wooden handles on the wheelbarrow, broke.
Right.
And she went out and got 2 new handles, and she just figured, well, we'll replace the handles. Except that this is a 17 or 18-year-old wheelbarrow, and all of the nuts and bolts are like, rusted on, and it's like almost next to impossible. I think over the weekend she got out the hacksaw or something. So it's sitting in my garage. And I said, why didn't you just get a new wheelbarrow? No, this is going to be a thing probably for much of the summertime. I'm expecting that wheelbarrow to be in my garage. She refuses to get a new wheelbarrow.
John Sears, you keep your eyes on the road and not. You shouldn't be typing on here, okay? He's a friend of mine. He's driving up from.
He's typing while he's driving.
I don't know that he is. He's a sensible sort of person. I'm thinking he probably is stopped, but just in case. What's that?
Our wheelbarrow broke because we carried the air conditioner on. Yeah, that will do it. Especially one of these 10,000 BTU jobs.
Oh yeah.
Put it on there.
Walter Miller, married 1976, May 29th. Very cold and rainy at night. Went to Pennsylvania, had snow flurries the next day. Where in PA did you go on May 29th that it snowed in May of 76?
I will tell you this, and it's kind of a sad memory or whatever. My grandmother passed away on May 16th, 1976, and I remember that from that moment on for a week or two, there was unseasonably cold conditions. And you say to yourself, well, this is because she passed away and the weather now has to be very dreary. So I remember that stretch that he's talking about.
All right. So I'm just trying to run through all the chats. Brandon Doherty is on here right now. Good to see you. Running back. Anybody else? Hoping the jet stream shifts. These lows are going right along this for a few days.
Yeah.
Got you, Phil Dimore. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating this time of year. No doubt about it. I'm just trying to think. Who's in town game-wise this week?
The Mets are playing this week. They're playing the Cincinnati Reds. I think the Yankees are still on the road. I don't know where. They were in San Francisco.
They were in San Francisco. They swept San Francisco.
Yes.
Although the Saturday game when it was 6-0 and they gave up 4 runs in the ninth inning with a 3-run homer.
Yeah, but they still swept them.
No, I know, but still, it was just a little shaky. You got a 6-run lead in the ninth inning.
Right.
All right, look, let's call it a night, and let's see what tomorrow brings. So you and I will be back tomorrow. Mr. Fitzgerald, Brian Fitzgerald will be here tomorrow morning for Files for News, Long Island, New Jersey, and Hudson Valley.
And Addison Green and Brittany Bora, the midday team, and then we're back in the late afternoon and evening, and we should be back here tomorrow to tell you more dreary news on the dreary
Paul
weather.
Gaddusi, 84 for Philadelphia on Thursday, is not impossible if it breaks out. If it breaks out into some sun, South Jersey, southeast at South Central PA, I think could be every bit of 80.
Move back for a second here, because you said who called for that now?
Paul Gaddusi, one of the TV stations in Philadelphia.
Right.
I lost his post.
Okay. I used to do, this is when I started in this business. This shows you how long I've been in the business. I used to do the weather, and any of you who are in Philadelphia remember this name of a certain age, Bill Custer. Bill Custer was the Tex Antoine of Philadelphia, and his career was winding on down. And we were sending him the forecast from the weather company that I was part of, and also Carol. It was KYW Channel 3, and at that time KYW was an NBC affiliate, and CBS was on Channel 10, WCAU.
Right.
And now I think they've switched. I think NBC is 3, and CBS is 3, and I think NBC is 10. I don't know. But those of you who live in Philadelphia, remember Philadelphia, maybe you remember Bill Custer, because like I said, it was kind of weird, because I was right out of college. And don't think that Bill Custer didn't realize that, he was like the living legend of weather in Philadelphia, and all of a sudden he was being told by the corporate people that he had to take the forecast from some kid that's right out of college.
And they're waiting on our heels, too.
Exactly.
Frank La Salandra. They had frost warnings up last night. You're the third person today to tell me that there was frost was not predicted. They had frost advisories up for Southern Connecticut last night for Southwest Connecticut. So I don't know. That's not the sort of thing that you put in a forecast 3 days before. Okay, that's something that that gets put in a forecast the night of that it's going to happen.
Right.
So was it? Yeah, I doubt that it was talked about. I'm sure there was very little talk about it, but certainly the possibility was there. But it was in forecasts last night. I posted, I posted about it. on Facebook, on my website, and on Patreon. And as I recall, southwestern Connecticut counties were involved in that frost advisory.
Erica Grow, who's on Channel 4 on weekends, gave a complete tutorial last night on her weathercast of radiational cooling. Very impressive. She had all kinds of graphics and everything else. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, I was watching this with a friend, and my friend turned to me in the middle of all of this dissertation about how radiational cooling. He said, "Is she going to get to the forecast so I know?"
Yes.
Eventually she will.
Yeah, he says, Paul Goduzzi says, KYW is Channel 3, CAU is Channel 10
right.
in Philadelphia.
I used to watch, here's another thing, as a kid, I was like 10 or 12 years old, my grandparents bought a color TV set with a big antenna that we put on the roof, and on Saturday mornings, I used to be able to watch WFIL, Channel 6, and WCAU Channel 10. Before Channel 9 and Channel 5 signed on, I was able to watch, I watched. There was a show. Now, how many of you people in Philadelphia who grew up in Philadelphia remember Pixan? They had a gal who was dressed up like Peter Pan, and she was on wires, and she used to fly across. I swear to you, Joe, this was on Saturday morning, and she used to show cartoons, and her name was Pixan. I was the only one probably in New York who knew who Pixan was. About 7:30, I'd lose the Channel 10 signal or Channel 6 signal because the other stations came on, but. Ah, yes.
As always, YouTube.
There it is.
Yeah,
Pixan. See? I told you.
So, since we're running out of time and have to go, just go to YouTube and put in Pixan, Pixanne, and enjoy yourselves. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Bye.